As part of Ferrari Fridays, William Ross from the Exotic Car Marketplace will be discussing all things Ferrari and interviewing people that live and breathe the Ferrari brand. Topics range from road cars to racing, drivers to owners, as well as auctions, private sales, and trends in the collector market.
Hey everyone, William Ross here at the Ferrari Marketplace. We are starting something new for this episode. We're actually doing video on this as well. This is my third go around attempting to record this episode due to the fact is I'm just not a tech person. Tried it several times. Some it doesn't record, sometimes it does, and I change a file name and then it seems to erase the sound, and then it's just me and no sound, and I look like bad lip reading or something like that. But anyways, I want to welcome you to the Ferrari Marketplace podcast and vlog, I guess you could say now, because we're going to post this up on the YouTube channel as well and start spreading the word a little bit more. And definitely check out Motoring Podcast Network and check out all the other podcasts that we have available on MPN. There's a ton of awesome content on there. I highly recommend you checking it out. And also check out past episodes of the Ferrari Marketplace. I kind of go all over the place. Yes, I talk about Ferraris in the market today and that kind of stuff, but I also just kind of get into everything related to Ferrari. So
for everything from Ferrari and Porsche, Lamborghini and Koenigsegg, visit exoticcarmarketplace.com. If you're into anything with wheels and a motor, log on to the Motoring Podcast Network and check out our family of podcasts at motoringpodcast.net. This is the place to find your favorite new show. Next up, a shout out to David Beatty and his team at Slot Mods, who custom build some of the coolest slot car tracks in the world at slotmods.com. Let your imagination run wild. And finally, Grand Touring Motorsports, covering all aspects of auto racing and motorsports history. Check out their e-zine at gtmotorsports.org. All the links for our sponsors are in the description.
Check out our sponsors that were mentioned here prior to this, and really appreciate the support, guys. So onward and upward. Got my Diet Mountain Dew. We are good to go. Hopefully, with my new mic I have here, I got a new Shure mic. Hopefully, all the sound's better. You probably heard that too. Open up my Diet Mountain Dew because I am a fiend for it. So you got to have kind of one vice, right? So it's Diet Mountain Dew for me. So anyways, today's episode, I had a different idea in mind for what I was going to record for this week's episode. I was going to get into about warranties and stuff like that and what you should look to. And even though I don't really get into too much of the newer stuff, but I was going to kind of talk about that and also maintenance and stuff. But there was a post that someone I know stating the fact is that they were going to be a judge this weekend at the Hillsborough Concours, which coincidentally enough, I'm headed there today. So this post was put on there and he was talking about I was being a judge at the Concours. And he was judging the Ferrari class. There's a nice amount of Ferraris in this class because I'm actually going there myself to be a docent. I don't think I'm judging. I don't like to be a judge because that's a lot of responsibility put on your shoulders. And we'll get into that as to exactly why. So this person made the post and it kind of like struck a nerve with me. And not against this person, but just in how the judging works in general at these Concours events. Now, when you get into more prestigious ones, Pebble Beach, Cavallino, stuff like that, you know, they get very particular credential-wise and background-wise or who they're going to bring on as a judge. Now, these guys, they're volunteers, straight up. They don't get paid. They get into the event for free. That's about it. Maybe some free food, free beverages. That's about it. So it's not like the wheels are getting greased and saying, hey, vote for these cars or whatnot, you know, that kind of gig. Not to say that some money hasn't been tried to slip into a judge's hand at an event, but well, that's a whole different argument. But it's a volunteer position. That's basically what it boils down to. You got to pay your own way. So if either you're driving hour, 2 hours, or you're flying across country, it's your dime. So it just depends on who you want, how you get there. But anyways, when you get some of these other events, I don't want to say you're scraping the bottom of the barrel. That's not right. Because all these people that are participating, you know, have knowledge and background. But to what extent is what I'm getting at. So this individual, they've only been in this industry maybe 4 or 5 years. So their background knowledge, especially of Ferraris, is very limited. And the only reason is working for one of the big auction houses. That's how he jumped into this industry. He started working for the auction house, whatever, but he hadn't been in the right place, right time, and be involved in the transaction of a very particular car that all of a sudden got him a load of notoriety. Good for him. Hey, got his bank account fluffed up, everything like that, which is fantastic. Good for him. Hey, kudos. So again, this isn't about him. This is not about his situation. It had nothing to do with him. And kudos to him, everything like that. Hey, he's taking the fast track and having a great time and, you know, doing a lot of cool shit. It just has to do with when you have a car at a Concours event, depending on the level of event, a lot of these owners take that trophy placing, what have you, and that's value to that car, because then when you go to sell that car, you can say, oh, my car won at XYZ or came first in class at XYZ or whatever. It adds a lot of value to that car, because you have a lot of people that when they buy these cars, because they want to do stuff with it, and there's a very, very small amount of people that they take these, they daily drive them or drive them on a regular basis and drive them like they should, use them for basic stuff and everything like that, and have a lot of fun with them. We got a lot of guys, hey, it's a weekend car. They only take them to car shows. They take them to events, take them to concourse, stuff like that. They pride themselves on having a car that's award winning, or as with Cavallino, platinum award winning, because that adds a ton of value to the car, especially for Cavallino and Ferrari. Porsche has the same thing in getting those type of awards. And it boils down to a lot of stuff, because a lot of these things, it has to come down to like a point and a half. Cavallino was at 96 or higher, 95 and higher. It's a 100-point scale. So you have a cheat sheet, and so to speak, in regards to what you're looking for. There's a lot of basic stuff, but there's a lot of stuff on there. If you really don't know, you could really ding a car. Looking at hex head bolts compared to regular, bolts, Phillips and blah, 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 that kind of stuff, or the hose clamp is wrong or wrong oil filter, stuff like that. I mean, if you don't know your stuff, you could take a point off, half a point off thinking, oh, that's wrong, but it could be right. I mean, that's the thing. Do you know? Now, when they're judging at events, it's not like there's one person go around to one car. Usually you have a group. I mean, that's how you should do it. Now, I've seen events and been events where they had one judge going around or two judges. That was it. That has to do with getting volunteers and people to be able to come. It's all about that. But normally you have 4, 5, 6 judges in a group. They go around collectively from car to car. They have a specific amount of cars. They'll know ahead of time, these are the cars you're judging. So hopefully these people did their homework and brushed up on the cars they're going to be looking at. And how in-depth they get into that, that's up to them. Now, normally you also have one judge in that panel, that group. Hey, they're the expert. They'll know their stuff. So you can lean on them in regards to questions and everything like that. And I highly recommend, if you have time and you're interested in it, follow a group of judges around at the next big event you're at. You have to follow them the whole time, dude, because it takes a few hours for them to go around, because they do multiple cars. But watch them do a few cars and see if they do. It's pretty much the same in regards to every car, because they have to check, hey, check this, check the horn, check brake lights, blah, 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 da, da, da. It's interesting to see how they kind of tweak it a little bit from car to car. So it all kind of depends what they're getting at. And especially if a judge goes, oh, I love this car. This is one of my favorites, blah, blah, all that kind of stuff. So I recommend it, because it's cool to just kind of stand in the background, watch them work and see what they do. So now when you have this group of judges, now you normally what you have, okay, the owner of the car or whoever the handler is, they're talking. Normally they'll talk to one of the judges predominantly. And kind of that's the judge asking all the questions. Well, the other judges either talk to other people, or they're just kind of looking at stuff on the car or everything like that. They might have two judges where the guy's talking to, but it's pretty much one person. And usually that's I'm going to say the go-to person in that group. Or like I said, you could have the owner and the restorer or whatever. The restorer's talking to the judges while the owner's talking to the other judges, just shooting the shit, that kind of stuff. So it all depends, but you have to turn in your score sheets and get rated on your car. So at the end, they're tallying up the points, they're tallying everything up and kind of showing you, okay, here's where you're at. And you can go back after the fact and ask for verification. Say, hey, this doesn't seem right. No, this is right. But here's the problem is it's after the fact. So it's not during the event itself where, okay, well, they're going to all of a sudden reshuffle everything. They won't. They'll rescore your car. And you might think, well, what's the point? Well, if it's a big difference between it being a platinum and not a platinum for like Ferrari and stuff like that. I mean, it's huge. And like I said, when you're talking a point, half point, that goes a long way, because when you check out listings and stuff for nicer, higher end collector Ferraris, not your newer stuff, but the older stuff, and look at it, and you'll guarantee if you say, oh, platinum award winning, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's huge, because it just shows that it was restored correctly. It's almost as is coming out of the factory. It's using NOS parts, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's cool. It just adds a ton of value to the car if you have that. That's why you have a lot of these guys that have the money that they started sending over when Ferrari started doing their Class East program, as they started sending them over to Italy, to Ferrari itself, to restore the cars, because they want to get the award. They want to get the platinum award. They want to win this event. It's a huge ego thing for a lot of these people. And on that note, judges can have a tendency to get an ego on them, because they feel that, hey, they're holding all the power. It's kind of like when go through TSA TSA, rightfully so, I guess. I mean, they could make your freaking life and trip miserable if they really wanted to, if they're just having a bad day. Or, you're at the store and you got some schlep, you got some clerk that they feel like they got all the power in the world right now over you because everything's in their hands, and it's like you got to kowtow to them, everything like that. So people have a tendency to get a bit of an ego on them. But again, not saying that they'd sabotage it, what have you, but what I'm saying is they'll start nitpicking and start deducting points for stuff that they're not completely certain about. Like I said, I'm not saying this happens all the time. I'm not saying this is common. I'm just making a point of what potentially is there in regards to doing it, because it's not like they're going back and scrutinizing all this stuff. Normally someone's bringing their car and they have a relatively strong idea of where their car should score at. I feel it's a huge disservice to the owners when you have judges coming in that really have no business being a judge. Now, if they stay on the facts, it's celebrity judge, this and that. This is they have some knowledge. And again, they can study up beforehand. And you go to like Pebble Beach, they have a lot of like ex drivers and stuff like that, very well known people in the automotive world, being the group of judges. Because if you think about like Pebble and stuff like that, they got to have 100, 200 judges. I'm not exactly sure. They have a lot. So and again, it's volunteer, everything like that. But it's a lot of fun. It's very enjoyable to do. Again, it's something I don't choose to do. I've been asked a lot, and I just kind of, I kind of look at what the event is. Well, what is my role within that group? What are you expecting from me? One, I don't like to be the main person. I just don't like to have that responsibility. Because again, you got some owners that can get pretty prickly about what kind of score they receive and demanding why and everything like that. I mean, I've seen an instance here or there where, the owners got extremely pissed off in regards to what their score was and why the hell did it this and that. I just spent this much money getting this done, da, da, da. Then they go back onto the restorer. What the hell's going on? No, that's right. It can create a very, very sticky situation all around. But anyways, so kind of going back to what the whole point of this was, when you watch your judges and see, I said this all just basically started. The fact is, it just kind of is a little bit of I don't want to say sore point with me. I don't want to say that. I want to say it's, just something that kind of irks me a bit. And I think it's a disservice to a lot of the owners. Now, like, I don't know how you could fix it. I mean, there's nothing new because, again, these guys volunteer. So it's like the event itself is kind of hamstrung in regards to, well, we got to get who we can get because, we're not paying these people. Then you might say, well, why don't they get judges and just pay them? Well, the money's not there for it. All these events, a majority of them are about raising money for certain nonprofits, charities, stuff like that. They're run as nonprofits. So people aren't really making money off these things. Bill Warner's always made the comment. People ask him all the time, well, I'm thinking about starting this Concours and this and that. And he tells them, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't be getting in for to make money on it. You're not making money on it. It's a lot of effort. It's a lot of work and it costs a lot of money. Stuff starts adding up. So, I mean, those events run on volunteers. So you really can't go that route saying, well, pay the judges then, because it just wouldn't happen. Because then all of a sudden you could get into, well, they're getting paid. So all of a sudden they're going to have favoritism, that kind of stuff. I don't know. I don't want to say it's a lose-lose, but, and again, I got to reiterate, I'm not saying this happens at every event and all everyone is just say, it just struck a nerve when I saw that post and it made me just kind of like, oh, it just brought something up to the surface that it bothers me for the owners of these cars. It's one thing when you have the guy that's got hundreds of millions of dollars in his bank account, spending $3, $4, $5 million on a car, even, $1 million on a car, and then spend another couple $100,000, if not $1 million on the restoration, all this kind of stuff. And they get angry, but they're like, oh, okay, well, next year we got to fix this stuff and that. Then we'll get those last couple points, yada, yada. It's the gentleman that he saved up. That's his only car. That's his baby. He's had it for 30 years or 20 years, whatever it is, or he got it, he restored it himself and everything like that. Super passionate. I love these people. I mean, I absolutely adore these people because they're a true backbone of the collector industry. Not saying these huge collectors don't care about their cars, but I'm saying the people that have one, maybe two cars, they're the passionate ones that, I just want to be sure they're not getting a disservice done to them in regards to their car and at these events. Again, it's just something I wanted to get off my chest, I guess, basically. You could say that's what this whole episode was. It's just about me venting about the situations. And like I said, there's really no way to fix it. There's no way to correct it. And again, it's not like it's, all over the place. It isn't. Not saying any of this stuff could potentially happen, just someone being rude and ego, and I'm deducting points. I don't like this asshole, that kind of stuff. Well, and you'd hope it wouldn't be. These people put a lot of time, effort, and money into these cars. and they take pride in that when they go to these events or getting judged, and they bring it to these events because they got to pay to put their car in this event. Depending on what event it is, it get pretty expensive to have your car in the show to get judged. And something happens that goes wrong, then they get pissed off. They'll never bring their car back to that show again or what have you. And as we know, we all love the weekends where there's events all over the place, big, small, what have you, various types of cars from exotics to muscle cars, everything like that. These shows are fantastic. You don't want to see people get a bad taste in their mouth because you want to see these cars out in the public, out in the wild, especially getting driven and everything like that. So, which is always great. What's cool is that get to these more prestigious ones. Like Pebble, they have that drive they do where you get extra points if you participate in that drive day before, 2 days before the Concours. Stuff like that's cool to see when you see these cars actually in motion, getting driven, everything like that. That's what I love about the Simeone Museum in Philadelphia. If you have never been there, I highly recommend you visit the Simeone Museum because they do events, I don't know, often, I don't know if it's every weekend, what have you, but they take their cars out into their parking lot. They drive them around. It's not a very big parking lot, but you hear them driving, you hear them running. They treat them as the cars as they should be, so which is awesome. And kind of as a back note, they just had a fantastic event there for a viewing party for the Le Mans 24 Hours. It just happened last weekend, helped put on by the ACO America. I highly recommend next year you're going, check out the ACO America website, join up, sign up. You get a lot of perks and benefits, especially if you go over to Le Mans itself or the Le Mans Classic. But they do a lot of cool stuff over here in the United States as well. So check it out. Definitely recommend going there next year. I will be there myself. So please come there. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this up because I had to start packing for my trip to San Francisco. My flight's not till 5:40 in the afternoon. So I have all day. Thank God it's a direct flight. I got to get that situated, get that all taken care of. But again, I appreciate you guys listening. Tell me what you think. If you appreciate, doing the vlog as well. We've discussed that, it all depends on the listener. Some people just like audio. Some people like video. It's some both, what have you. So it all depends. And I don't know if you like looking at my ugly mug, but anyways. And what do you think of the Ferrari TFM swag? We got some cool swag going on, especially for MPN. We got some cool swag for Ferrari Marketplace, Garage 65. We got a lot of cool swag going on. You got to check the stuff out. We're thinking about bringing some of that stuff to market. See if there's some interest there, help support the cause. But again, I appreciate you guys listening. Remember, for the vlog and the YouTube channel, hit that like and subscribe, spread the word. Let's get this thing out there. We can blow it up. We can do a lot more cool things with this, get some people in, interview them, stuff like that, and do what we can. So maybe do some on-site stuff. Who knows where it can go. I appreciate you guys listening. Hit that like and subscribe button. And until next time, peace.
This episode has been brought to you by Grand Touring Motorsports as part of our Motoring Podcast Network. For more episodes like this, tune in each week for more exciting and educational content from organizations like the Exotic Car Marketplace, the Motoring Historian, Break Fix, and many others. If you'd like to support Grand Touring Motorsports and the Motoring Podcast Network, sign up for one of our many sponsorship tiers at www.patreon.com/GT Motorsports. Please note that the content, opinions, and materials presented and expressed in this episode are those of its creator, and this episode has been published with their consent. If you have any inquiries about this program, please contact the creators of this episode via email or social media as mentioned in the episode.